Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to our Facebook Live today. It's our last one before we close the cart tomorrow and the train departs. So we want to do something really different for today because you've heard from Sheikh Mohammed, you've heard from myself, we've answered questions about the program, and you've gotten a taste of what Visionnaire is about, the content, the process that Sheikh Mohammed takes you through. So today we wanted to be able to connect you with students who have taken Visionnaire and with also someone who's about to take Visionnaire and some of the mental hurdles and roadblocks that they had, or also negative ideas they had in terms of blocking their connection with dua. So I have with me brother Bilal. So assalamu alaikum, Bilal.
Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah, how are you?
Doing well.
How's your Ramadan going?
Fantastic. Best one thus far.
Alhamdulillah, awesome to hear that. Anything in particular that's making it the best for you so far?
I've taken well, one, I kind of planned for it intently, well beforehand. And now, granted, some of the things that I planned for didn't exactly go as I thought it would, but just kind of like taking it deliberately, having consciousness, having energy, just ensuring. I think coupled with the fact that I'm actually like the last couple of Ramadans, my sleep schedule just kind of got thrown off. Whereas this time around, I'm being really as deliberate as I can to be awake during the day. Coupled with the fact that certain things that I made dua for actually started, like some milestones started manifesting just before Ramadan. So that just kind of puts me on a whole new level.
You're starting off on a high, mashallah.
Yes.
Okay, alhamdulillah. So while we wait for people to join in, I'll just ask a little bit about, when's the first time that you did Visionnaire? Because mashallah, it's been a while.
Yes. I was living in Washington, D.C. at the time. Well, I was working in Washington, D.C., sleeping in Maryland. I think it was like 2012 or 2013. And that's when I first took it. Now, I remember I wanted to actually come live to Niagara Falls. And for a couple of reasons, it just didn't work out in terms of, just the logistics of getting there and everything. So I said, okay, you know what, maybe next time. But then when Visionnaire went online, I'm like, how is this going to work? You're going to have this like amazing place, but then here I am going to be sitting in my office listening to whatever Sheikh Muhammad's going to say. So yeah, I went ahead, took it, figured, okay, that he's made that our responsibility to finding that location in terms of what's inspiring. So yeah, that was basically then. And then when I took it, I attended this thing and it was just like, oh, I get it. It's a workshop. It's not a lecture. It's not, hey, just, close your mind and just soak everything in. No, you're actually doing things. So that was my initial impression. It took several, I guess, renditions of it for me to kind of get the hang of it in terms of, oh, this is what within this system, this is what works for me. These are the things that, okay, I can kind of like consider, but not necessarily have to hang on to. So I
So
think,
what was something that you would say, I guess, in that initial phase when you first took Visionnaire, how did it change your relationship with dua? Which I know is a loaded question, but if in a few words you would be able to tell people who are maybe watching this and thinking, I know how to make dua. It's something that, I understand. Like, what are you going to, how does Visionnaire change that for you?
okay, so this concept of making dua is a very generic idea, right? You calling upon Allah. Great. But one of the things that a lot of folks don't do, and before Visionnaire, I still had this concept of your dua list, right? And this is something that Sheikh Muhammad had always talked about prior to that, but he just kind of never articulated it in the sense of, okay, how can you be deliberate and clear about what it is that you want to attain, and at least have a visualization of that. So before, my dua list was essentially my goal list, which is a whole list of things I would carry out on a piece of paper in my pocket or something. It's like, oh, it's raining. Let me pull that out, make a list of those things. Or when I went for Hajj, I had my dua list, and oh, I will make a dua for that. But that's great. You can do that. But then there's this whole idea of there's a system, there's a filtering process. There's also this commitment factor that kind of comes into it, whereas it being just a laundry list of things that you want from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
And how would you describe, or like before you joined Visionnaire, what do you think? What did you think the program was before it? So you had thought about joining the live when it was happening, and then online came. But were there any preconceived notions or something that you thought Visionnaire was, and then it turned out to be completely different? Like, was there something that I
Well,
missed?
there's a couple of things, right? So one, I was very familiar with Sheikh Mohammed himself, right? So for him to be like, "Hey, I got a program coming on," I'm like, "Well, take my money." He's like, I'm going to attend. I know I'm going to benefit. I know who you are, and I've benefited from you in the past. But in terms of what was I expecting in terms of coming into this particular program, the thing that he was, promoting was that, okay, you know what? You're gonna potentially you're gonna upgrade your du'as. I'm like, okay, sounds better. I have a laundry list of du'as. How can I upgrade that? Let's go. And so, but the thing was, after a couple of renditions of Visionnaire, it was just like it's not about upgrading your du'as. It's about changing your life, and that's one of the things that I, was just and for me, it was like genuine physical transformation that making du'as, and then when opportunities arise, and that when certain things come forward, at the end of the day, the tawfiq comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for you to actually take advantage of that. But a lot of those things would not have come up, nor would they have appeared in the way that you thought of. It's just like, oh wow. And here's the funny thing, I didn't even realize that this was the manifestation of the dua until hindsight.
SubhanAllah.
So it was just, I was like, oh, wait. And I look back and I'm like, oh, wait, I made the offer that. Oh, here's a picture. And then I'm like, hey, I'm sharing this with my friend, but not with the subconscious idea of, oh, this is the thing I drew. Like, it just happened that the app that I was using would formulate a picture that was very similar to the graphic I'd done on Photoshop, which when I did that, the app didn't exist. So, like, things like that.
Yeah, the visual. And so what Bilal's talking about, for those who don't, you're not familiar with Visionnaire, is the visualization exercises that we do in Visionnaire, and where you actually will go on that journey of finding, things that inshallah visualize and show what you're dream dua, like what you hope that it will turn out to be like, and what you're asking for, just to have that clarity and that precision for what you're making dua for. So that's going to bring me to my last question, Bilal. Mashallah, you talked about some of the visualization. What, if you're comfortable sharing, what's one dream dua for you that manifested and was just, it was groundbreaking. It was just that, like, gave you that high where, like, I need more of this. Like, I need to keep making dua like this.
So, I mean, there's a number of things that one of the du'as that I was making, I think maybe after my second or third rendition of Visionnaire, was to have the strength and endurance to be able to bike across the nation, right? That was the thought, right? I didn't know how that would happen. I didn't, in fact, I thought just the idea of it is crazy. I'm like, why not? Let's go. And along the way, I had a buddy of mine, and he was like, yo, let's bike to Canada. I said, you're crazy. We'd bike to DC 100 miles, and then we keep one-upping one another. Finally, a couple years or several years later, which was only this past November, or was it November or this or whatever? I've documented it, so if you guys want to check it out. But I ended up biking from New York City to Montreal, which was 4.5 days, 450 miles, 100 miles a day, and the last day we did 50 miles, and in the end, I did it. Now, in that moment, I knew that that was most definitely the manifestation of it, because along the way, the different things that we were doing, it just like I'm recognizing the milestones becoming clear in hindsight. But once I got on it, I was just like, this is it. This is like what's happening. Now, I know for a fact, like, I was just thinking back, I was like, I don't know how I did this. Like, just the idea of like, I biked 450 miles. Like, how? I don't know. But it happened. And it's one of those things I'm still kind of like, I think about it, and that high just kind of kicks back right in.
Yeah.
It's like if anybody's been to Hajj and you got the Hajj highs, like this biking high is its own category.
And it's so contagious. As you're talking about it, I'm just like, it's so inspiring, and it makes you want to, really raise the standard for your duas, and inshallah, like, it just to see other and hear other people's duas manifested, it motivates you. So alhamdulillah for Visionnaire that allows you to do that. And I can't believe you came to Montreal, and I didn't know. We should have had like a welcome wagon for your finish line.
It was I just actually the night before or the day, well, a couple days before, I just texted a couple of guys at HQ at Al Maghrib, And I'm like, hey, yeah, you guys want to meet up after I arrive? And they're like, yeah, okay. And so once I arrived, I rented a car, and I basically hung out with Omar Khan, and basically rested on his sofa while he was doing Quran Revolution stuff. And then we went out and had some I don't know what you guys have that, but like this smoothie that oh,
Mm.
and he gave me these uh, poutines. Uh,
Petite.
yeah, that was I was like, this is not the thing to have after 450 miles.
Thank you so much, Bilal, for inspiring us. And
Yeah,
for those who are just joining this, so this is Brother Bilal Khan. He's done, mashallah, Visionnaire many times, and he was sharing his journey with it. And we're going to continue because now we've got, alhamdulillah, I think Sister Selma Hindi, she has just joined as well. So, Bilal, thank you. And I'm going to see you on Visionnaire tomorrow, inshallah. So excited to have you on that journey with us. And inshallah, I know you're going to be pumping students up in the Google groups. You're always a great cheerleader and motivator. So, jazakallah khair.
no problem.